What's going on, y'all? Z.A.T.O here, back with another Media Mosaic video, this time ranking every piece of media that I consumed in the month of June 2026, which was actually like one of the best months ever for me for media consumption. Like, at least consistency wise, where I can very easily say that I happily enjoyed every entry that we're going to talk about on this list. I would label every piece of media here as good, and as has kind of become tradition more recently, I'm going to keep the video relatively light. This will be difficult, especially for the number one spot, because I have a lot to say, but I'm going to be able to circumvent that problem, and we'll discuss why later when we get there, obviously. But either way, at number 8, the worst piece of media that I got through in June 2026 is actually one of two rereads that I did this month. The 7th visual novel I'd ever read, Kill or Love, which I'd originally read back in January of 2022. Guys, we're talking pre-Can't Overdo It era. I was a different man back then. I wasn't even paying bills yet. Dude, take me back to those days. I was doing something right, clearly. But no, for real, like, outside of Doki Doki Literature Club, a Doki Doki Literature Club mod called Blue Skies, the Danganronpa trilogy, and Your Turn to Die, this was the next visual novel I'd consume. It's a very short read. I don't know my original playtime anymore, but this go around it took me just under 2 hours to get all 4 endings. The basic structure of the story is a pretty simple one, but one that is executed well enough. We are Jack, a man in a hospital being looked after by our nurse Anna, who we don't like and clearly have some history with. Throughout the story, Jack regales us with how he ended up where he is and why, introducing us to Anna as he'd seen her in the past, and Grace, another very important person to his life. The story shows us why Anna is obsessed with Jack, why Jack detests Anna, and slowly uncovers a childhood that Jack had forgotten, and genuinely, I liked replaying this a lot. It's not the best visual novel ever made. If you go in expecting a magnum opus, you are going to be severely disappointed, but for me, as someone who got hit with an immense level of nostalgia when reading it again, I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. I think Jack was surprisingly a character. Like, I personally expected to come into this reread and have him be like a very self-insert character, but no, he does like stand on his own as an actual character. I definitely liked Grace more now than I did back when I'd originally read it. Anna, though, was the only one I probably didn't go up on, where I knew what to expect from her going in since she was my favorite originally, and yeah, I got exactly what I expected I would get. I was perfectly whelmed with Anna. All in all, I had a lot of fun with the reread though, 7.5 out of 10. At number 7, we have Limbus Company's newest Intervalo Mnestic experience, an Intervalo that ranks somewhere in the middle of my Intervalo ranking, I'd imagine, if I were to ever do such a thing. One that I think is really baseline, particularly with the ending of the Intervalo. Everything leading up to that was still good though. I think a large part of whether or not people enjoy this story is how they feel about Bamboo Hatted Kim. Personally speaking, I wasn't incredibly invested in him when I'd had pneumonia and read through Library of Ruina, so this tectonic shift in characterization for him is not one that I personally revile. I like his dynamic with Ongdu and the boss for the Intervalo, whose name I'm not no, not even gonna try. But I do think that it's really fascinating that this Intervalo does succeed in a multitude of things, where, like I said earlier, with the ending of the Intervalo, it sets up Canto 10 really well. But what it also does is it kind of just serves as Kim's Kanto, which is cool. I like that, and I hope that it's something that they're able to, work on and do more later on as well, because it was really cool to get. It's almost like a mini Kanto. It's like, kind of reminds me of like a Kanto 1, 2, 3 kind of dealio, but for like a side character, and I think that's really neat. I don't have too many notes for this one. It was common Limbus goodness, 8 out of 10. Moving up to number 6, we are continuing the trend of having a single Punishing Gray Raven bit of these videos, this time being chapter 19, A New Divide. If you're wondering why I haven't picked PGR back up yet, there's 2 reasons. One, the next fucking chapter is Cinder Burns, and that is long. And secondly, because the trajectory of Higurashi, Clanad, Mihoyo, Cyanotype Daydream, and a fucking Umineko reread do not leave a lot of time for literally anything else, but fear not, I'll be back in the swing of things eventually. Either way, A New Divide here was a fine chapter. A good chapter, but at this point in Punishing Gray Raven, that's kind of par for the course. For me personally, I have this chapter slightly above 18. I mean, it's pretty much a coin flip. I'd be chill having 18 higher. This one really focuses on Karenina, but to be honest, it is not her that carries the chapter, or rather, it's not her as an individual, because her dynamic with Teddy is just So good. And to talk about Teddy briefly, yeah, she's awesome. Great introduction to the story. Love her. Overall, I like the new divide a lot, and the Souls-esque encounters seem to continue with that weird ass alien on the moon. Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about that. Yeah, by the way, we're on the moon. Yep, the moon. Yeah, low gravity, the whole shebang. Oh man, 8 out of 10. Moving on to number 5. This is one people may be upset about me having as low as I do here on this list, and to those people, I'm sorry for the slander that is this series' placement on my top 100 list. A video that will surely see the light of day one day, probably. Genuinely off topic, I know, I'm sorry, but yes, I'm still in the process of that at this point. I don't see it coming out until October at the earliest, given that I have a certain other video that is taking priority over that project, as well as a smaller one that I want to make. And yeah, that's right. We're talking about Z.A.T.O, by the way. um, I go, yeah, there's so much word vomit in like this particular part of the script. Anyways, I'm just gonna leave that in too. Screw it, why not? Anyways, yeah, this is Z.A.T.O. I love the world and everything in it. A story that I feel pretty mixed on coming out of it. Positive for sure, but it does have some knocks for me. Chapter 2 is far and away the best segment of the game. I think for some people it'd be the final message in chapter 3, but for me personally, I mean, like, yeah, it was a good scene. That's for sure undeniable, but it was also almost bar for bar exactly what I expected it to be from very early on in the story, where the whole concept of Asya throughout seemed to be, at least from my own perspective, that, as the title suggests, she loves the world and everything in it, often spacing out and talking about the universe itself and her love for it, almost detaching herself from the universe itself. Through all of those ramblings, she would constantly put herself down at different points in the story. So for me, the most natural conclusion would be her development being that she comes to really love herself and do so in the same way that she loves literally everything that is not her. Either way, that tangent aside, I was not personally hooked by chapter 1 all that much. As for the characters, Marina is my favorite, and it is not even remotely close. Asya, on the other hand, is unironically close to Garen for me on my list. I kind of can go back and forth and go either way with them, where, like, Marina is like so far above everybody. But between Asya and Garen, I definitely like Asya more because she's not Garen, but I found myself intrigued by Garen's character, and the slow peeling back of his layers throughout was handled really well for me. Ira, for her part, was good. I like her. She's dope. Just didn't do all that much. I think my main thesis that I come away with on Z.A.T.O, at least from a more meta perspective, is that it's really easy to hate a series like Solo Leveling or like Demon Slayer because of its popularity. It's the overdog. Why is this the series that's getting as much love and as much eyes on it as it does? Why can't it be something like Z.A.T.O, for example? Because you have the flip side of that, where conversely, something like Z.A.T.O, considerably more niche. I think it's easier for people to like Z.A.T.O and to want to get other people's eyes on it because it's the underdog. That's what we want to root for. And genuinely, sharing stories is a really fun thing for those of us who consume media for hobby. It's the same reason that I'm more passionate about spreading the greatness of Torture Princess than I am about the likes of Konosuba, for example. My point being that I understand why Z.A.T.O gets the recognition and the praise and the love that it gets. I completely get it. I think the message is beautiful in the end. I think it is so philosophically dense, like genuinely to the point where if you're somebody who wants to read Tsubahime, I promise this is relevant, stick with me. If you want to read Tsubahime particularly for its philosophical exploration, Z.A.T.O is going to give you a little bit of a taste of that. Now, not as thoroughly picked apart, but it'll still give you a taste. And it also just, doesn't have the repulsive parts of Tsubahime, so that's a win. I think the thing that impressed me the most about this read is just how much content was packed into it given its relatively short runtime. Personally, I finished the game in about 6.5 hours, and it is dense with pretty much no filler in it at all. I liked Z.A.T.O a lot, but it is another one of these cases where it being hyped up so much made it feel lesser for me as an individual. It did not change my life in any sort of grand way. It did not trigger this cataclysmic shift in my understanding of the universe itself. but I did enjoy the story, chapter 2 in particular. But yeah, I think those are my thoughts on Z.A.T.O. This one's a bit of a mess. 8 out of 10. Now for number 4, and do not take those pitchforks away just yet, because not only did I just slander Z.A.T.O, I'm about to explain on live video why I genuinely liked the 5 minutes we share at the convenience store more than I liked Z.A.T.O. I'm not kidding. This is a reread for me, one that, much like Killer Love, I read years ago at this point, and ironically enough, the binge read took me also just under 2 hours as well. It's a story that does not have much of a story. It is just super feel good and wholesome, and it is just such a light read, man. I love it. The chapters flew by for me. The main dynamic of Hinata and Shibasaki is so cute. The actual artwork is solid. The vibes, man, the vibes are so good. I love this manga, man. Kubo-san Won't Let Me Be Invisible, stick with me, is my favorite manga of all time after having read it twice. The main reason for me is the fact that it is a very light read. For me personally, when I pick up a manga, I'm not expecting a light novel. That's why something like Yusugoi ranks lower for me than it may for other people. And yes, whenever I do eventually get around to that top 100 video, the elusive one that's for sure going to come out one day, I will have to explain to people why I like Kubo-san more than Yusugoi. But we're kind of losing the plot here a little bit. I like easy to read mangas. It's the short and simple version of it. This is exactly that. That's why I personally really like the 5 minutes we share at the convenience store. Fits the kind of manga I would like to AT. 8.5 out of 10. And now for number 3, I have the amazing Digital Circus, where I finished the series this month. However, I already talked about the series recently, literally in the April video. But now the movie's out, so how did my opinion on the series itself change? It didn't really. Like, I mean, not to any significant degree, at least. I thought the movie was good. Dare I say, I liked the movie. It's not my favorite entry of the series, but I did like it. I have qualms with it for sure, but I enjoyed the movie. And like I said in that April video, I just am genuinely grateful that something like this even exists, let alone for the price tag of free. It is a fantastic show that I do think is worth a watch, but also I'm not going to talk about it much because I just did that in the April video, but also because I drove out of state 2 days ago, and then I drove back the next day, and I'm still recuperating. I'm so tired, man. Either way, at number 2, we have a series that I forgot I finished this month. But yeah, no, that was still this month. Webtoon character Naku Lim. A very fun read for sure, from start to finish. I'm gonna do this one a little bit differently than I normally would. Here's my character ranking, because it'll allow me to talk through the series a little bit here. Or, you know, at least like my top 10 characters. Yeah. Starting from number 10, working to 1, Tsunobuola is an interesting character, and she serves her purpose well enough. Junga Park is a character I wish I liked more, but she does get some good scenes throughout. Jura Mi is a fun character who I wish got more screen time. Yuna Ri is genuinely fucking insane, and is such an incredible character to experience. Bong Yerim has a wholesome dynamic with a certain someone. The certain someone, Shin Young-soo, somehow is a top 5 character in WCNKL, because genuinely his arc might be my favorite in the whole story somehow. Cha Siren is just peak Kino. Kwan Mia has my favorite character concept in the story. The aura loss is so fucking funny to me, absolute icon. Naku Lim is interesting. I like his trauma reveal towards the end. I like his dynamics with the cats at large. And Yudahi is my best character in the story for me. Like I said, it was a fun read. Not my favorite manga of all time, but that's just because I've read some really great ones. But it was still really good. 9 out of 10. And at number 1, the best piece of media that I got through in June 1983. June 2026 is Higurashi no Naku Koro ni, obviously. Now, I will say this is going to be short, much shorter than people want it to be, but that is because of the fact that I am making a Higurashi video. It'll be the next long-form video coming out after this, an entire video where I will be ranking Onikakushi, Watanagashi, Tatari Goroshi, Himatsubushi, Meakashi, Sumi Horoboshi, Minagadoshi, Matsuri Bayashi, and Sakadoshi from least to most favorite, though I'll probably just call the video worst to best, because, you know, that's just easier. Higurashi is, in no uncertain terms, one of my favorite series ever. You know, for now, at least, we'll see. I've gone back and forth about where exactly I have it, but it is top 10 somewhere for sure. I have major issues with Higurashi as a series. I think the repetition gets annoying. I think the pacing is rough at points. I think the game drove me crazy at points, and I absolutely detest a certain plot point that I will be tearing to shreds in that arc ranking video. Y'all ain't ready for me to crash out, bro. I would do a character ranking like I did for Naku Lim so that I could kind of briefly go over things a little bit, but I already did that in an edit, so just go watch that if you want. But if you do watch the edit, just know that it is already outdated because I've bumped Shion Sonozaki up to number 2 on that list. Either way, Higurashi is a 10 out of 10. Obviously, and it is the best piece of media that I consumed in June 1983. And yes, I'm not even gonna fix that one. But that's all. Stay tuned for the Higurashi arc ranking, which should be the next long form video. Stay tuned for the July video. Stay tuned for a special video releasing in September. I've been wanting to make for literal years now. Stay tuned for a Clanad route ranking video at some point. Stay tuned for my Minecraft Survivor Season 3 review and player ranking, and of course, shout out to my top 100 series video. That has a script that is still changing. Anyhow, as I alluded to earlier, I had an 8-hour drive 2 days ago, an 8-hour drive back home the next day alone. I'm tired. My entire sleep schedule got messed up, dude. It was horrible. But regardless, good morning, good evening, good night. Take care, y'all.